In this module, we will explore the relationship between the globalization of universities and English language. In today's world, where we talk about the globalization of universities, the universities need English to operate in an international marketplace. The universities now have changed their traditional approach and they have now become more international and global. And to operate on an international scale and to attract students from all over the world, the universities now need English to compete with the competition, to take part in this competition that a large number of international universities have in the world today. English plays an important role in enabling the universities to make a place for themselves in this education marketplace, if we can call it that. It facilitates the movement of students. For example, knowledge of English enables students, researchers, faculty members to move to the universities where English is the medium of education, or to these universities which are considered highly prestigious and are high ranking in the world. So it is only with the knowledge of English that this mobility of students and researchers and scholars is made possible. An agreement was signed among European countries in 1999 at Bologna. The purpose of this agreement was to make higher education as standardized as possible, at least in Europe. So the idea was to make European education consistent with the British model and use a common approach for determining the levels of the students and also the levels of the education and length of courses and such other details. The standardization of education was attempted at by the European countries because it is felt that standardization of education will facilitate greater movement of students within Europe. For example, if the universities, the standards of different universities in Europe are consistent with the British universities, it of course means that they use English as the medium of education, or they have programs in place to offer facilitation for the use of English for the students and faculty and researchers, etc. So this kind of standardization will then make it possible for the students to also move to other universities to universities in other European countries. And the other purpose of this agreement was to make European education more attractive to students from other countries. For example, if the other countries in Europe were also able to attract a similar kind of student body as the UK does, then European education generally will become more attractive to the people and not only the education in the UK. Although in this agreement, the use of English is not a requirement. However, the use of English is encouraged to facilitate the students and faculty from other countries. Of course, if, for example, a student enrolls in a program in Germany, and if he has to obtain this education in German, his task will become very difficult. It will take him a very long time to reach the degree of proficiency where obtaining higher education in German will be possible. So, to make their own universities attractive, other European countries attempted to introduce this kind of standardization in higher education, at least in Europe. We also see a new trend in the globalization of education, where a lot of students are attracted to universities in Asian countries. You may yourself be in contact with Pakistani students who go to Asia, Japan, I'm sorry, who go to China, Japan, Malaysia, and Turkey for higher education. So these Asian countries have now also started attracting international students. However, the suitability of graduates from the different Asian countries or from any country is often evaluated in terms of their proficiency in English. For example, if we talk about China and India, 2 to 3 million people graduate from these countries every year. However, only a small percentage of these graduates are considered suitable for employment by multinational countries. And the reason is their proficiency in English language. So often, weak spoken English language skills are considered the biggest barrier to their employment by these multinational countries. The use of English language in higher education is the demand of the time, but this use of English also has to be at a certain level of proficiency to enable these graduates to find employment in their desired fields and in their desired companies.